Hi, welcome to the Art of Transitions. My name is Gwen Mazza, and we are in for a special treat today. What I'd like to do is take a moment and introduce our very special guest, Nannette Nocon. Nannette is a very special and personal friend and gift to me, and she is about to show us, our viewing audience, a wonderful gift that she is bringing not only to our community, but to our whole country, and maybe even a larger audience in the future. So welcome, and come back and be with us as we go on the adventure of learning about Nannette becoming an author and sharing her gift, What's Up With Yuck? Welcome back to the Art of Transitions. My name is Gwen Mazza, and our guest today, our very special guest today, is one of my great friends, Nannette Nocon. Welcome, Nannette.
Thank you, Gwen. Thank you.
You're welcome. I wanted Nannette to come to the show today to share with the audience a wonderful gift that she has created. And the gift that she has created is a book called What's Up With Yuck?
Yeah, this book is actually a wordless book. It's a wordless picture book. Mm-hmm. And What's Up With Yuck came to me last June of 2009. Mm-hmm. It just came to mind about choices, and I was thinking of ions. My background from college is chemistry, as I was a dietitian before I became a financial advisor. But I was thinking of how ions have positive and negative charges. Mm-hmm. And I thought, what a brilliant way to express that all of us have choices, both positive and negative choices, and that every moment of our lives we have a choice. And so it wouldn't leave my mind. It just stayed in my mind, and I had to do something about it.
I know. I watched you going through some of this, which is part of the fun piece. Some of the nice things I'm hoping that the audience really gets to see today is the beautiful journey you went on as you created What's Up With Yuck. And because I know a lot of folks have books in their minds and in their brains, and they get tapped to do something like this, and yet they don't actually always follow through. So I was wondering if you could share with the audience today when you first met the ions and yuck.
First met them in June, and my husband actually said, this is what I would do. I would see friends socially and family and say, what do you think of ions? And some people would know what ions meant if they had a science background. They'd say, okay, positive, negative, neutral. And I'd say, yeah, okay, that's good. But then it got a little tired, you know.
So you kept going after this conversation
yes, I did.
With a lot of your friends and family.
Right, that's right.
And I do know your husband, and bless his soul for going through the ongoing conversation with you, I'm sure. And so what else happened is you started to think about this concept of positive and negative ions, and how did the guys start popping out?
Well, the idea really came in. I was going to give up the idea, and then a few weeks later, John Kastner, who is an illustrator, we own one of his artworks, he wrote to me, to Carl and I, and sent us some samples of his work. And he said that, don't know about your personal economy, but mine could use a little boost. If you could help use my work in any way, I'd really appreciate it. And I thought, wow, you know, he's calling out for some help. And but I thought, well, I can't use it from him for my business. But I thought, oh, but I could ask him to unload this idea from my head, because I frankly can't draw, and I'm not much of a writer. I do business writing, but not anything in fiction or anything like that. So we talked, and I told him about my ideas of positive and negative choices, that every single day, every single moment, we have an opportunity to make a choice. That if we made a choice that was not so positive, negative choice, we again have an opportunity to change that. That it's not cumulative, that it's not an average, that every single moment we have a choice. And I explained how, you know, when you're thinking negatively, that the only way you could get that negative thought out is to overlay it with something positive. And so we spent some time with me telling him what I wanted. And as I spoke, he actually started drawing already. And he says, okay, I think I have enough material here, and I will get back to you when it's done. And then he called me 3 weeks later, and he says, I've got the black and white sketches ready. I said, oh my gosh, really?
Really?
And
Really?
he said he was so inspired by what I wanted to do, and that he couldn't stop drawing. And it's important to share also that what I wanted to do was really help out kids who may not have the privilege of growing up with an adult who can guide them with their choices. And then they go on making their own choices without a basis on how they make decisions. And I thought that if they can start thinking that they are responsible for their choices, that they could control the way they think, even from the time they get up in the morning, whether they're going to be grumpy or happy, that maybe over time they would build that foundation, you know.
So they really get an opportunity to explore the power of choice.
Yes, that's right.
And also, the beautiful piece I think you brought in is not only the power of choice. When you've made a choice, you have an opportunity to make another choice,
Yes.
if it isn't fitting the situation.
Yes, that's right.
Now, I know that you primarily, or your intention was to create this for kids.
Yes.
I will tell you, though, that as I took this book and sat with you over a burger, if I'm not mistaken,
That's right.
it was just amazing to me. It was amazing to me to see how beautiful the colors are. The other piece I really loved was the wordless book was really an opportunity for, as you have created the book, to create. We got talking about you being the author. And what struck me the most, Nannette, and I truly mean this, it was so beautiful, is that you are the author. You have opened up your world to co-author a story with many, 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 many people of all ages, of all cultures, all directions and places to come and go from. So you are a co-author with millions of people, and I'm wondering what that feels like.
Actually, you articulated very well. I always thought it would be nice to have kids or adults come up with their own stories, but you articulated very well that I'm a co-author. And truly, it is meant to be that way, to have people come up with their own stories and what it means to them. It feels great because you know why? To me, it's art. It's an art book. That's what it is. I love
Absolutely.
art. I derive a lot of joy enjoying art and just looking at it. And I can't stop looking at art that I appreciate. And each time I look at it, I have a different perspective on it. And here it's a story from art, and I love it that people interpret it in the way that's suited for them at that moment that they open the book. And what's neat about it is you can open it practically at every page and it'd be okay. It won't be disoriented, you know what I mean? So you could come up with the story for that day and really spend a heck of a lot of time looking at it, not only because it's entertaining, there's so much in it, but you could really come up with some creative ways to explain what choices are about through the illustrations there.
There is so much beauty in each of the pieces, and they're such an individual medium in themselves, and collectively it's just, I can't even really describe it. You folks are gonna have to grab this book and begin to experience it. It's not like any other child's book, and my inner child loves it, that I've ever witnessed before. Can you tell us a little bit about the two main characters?
Sure, there's Yum and Yuck. At first, we were going to call them Mr. Yum and Mr. Yuck, but then I thought that wouldn't be appropriate because now we've defined the gender, and it's really a book for all ages and all people. And so also when we put Mr., it felt like it was a little bit more detached. I mean, not that Mr., it's very important to be respectful, but I also wanted the characters to be approachable. So here, Yum can annoy others, saying, oh, Yum is always making a good choice, and I'm annoyed with Yum. But, I think we all try to strive to do Yum things in life. And times where we feel like we're making Yuck decisions. And it just happens that way because it's the way it is, But I think we all have an opportunity to make it a Yum choice again. We're humans and, some choices are not the best all the time. And what I love about Yum and Yuck is their friendship as well. They go through the same situation, but they make different choices. At the end, Yuck really feels terrible. It's about the choices that he's made and how he ended up hurting, the horse. And so, but Yum was there to help him out. And we do need our friends sometimes, not sometimes, all the time, to help us with some things that we don't see. And if we just rely on our own devices, sometimes it's just difficult to see that. And what a wonderful friend Yum is for Yuck to say, you know what, you're thinking negative, I'm going to take that and crumple it and throw it out and I'm going to draw you a little positive sign, because you need to think about what you could do, not so much what you've done and punish yourself, but what you could do to make it better. So
that is true in terms of the relationship that you see evolve in the book, that you can witness in the book, of them being companions. They truly are companions. And the other piece I also felt was, as I read the book, because it didn't feel like either Yum nor Yuck were judging the other. They were curious as the results of the choices as you get to witness in the book, or you get to create your own story about the choices. And in the, you know, as you move towards the back of the book and you see Horse. Now, does Horse have a name?
Horsey, we call him Horsey.
Call him Horsey, okay. Did want to make sure I referred to them appropriately by their name. Horsey, you can see that things begin to shift and transition, which is one of the beautiful things about the show that we do, is always the art of transition and how life moves through. So we're actually here 2 pieces of transition. We're talking about you transitioning from being a dietitian, which actually was where you started, into the financial planner, to becoming and blending those 2 parts of your world, and to becoming an author, which is very cool. Then you get to see the characters, Yum and Yuck, transition as they move through on how they're going to make choices in their life. So I find that pretty amazing. I love the colors. The colors are so brilliant, so vibrant. In fact, I wore my pink shirt today to go with my matching pink toenails.
Yeah, right.
And intentionally I'm going shoeless today, because this is a comfort, fun book.
Yeah.
And this is how I love to do my life and do my work. And so this just simply adds to it.
You know, some people, Gwen, have asked me about what got me thinking about this. And part of it is, you know, as a financial advisor, we always have to ask clients to make choices about their goals and what they want to do in life. And so it's kind of also a way to help us think on the money side, because that's what I do.
Right.
It's just to, okay, there's always this choice. You know, do you want to retire earlier or later? Do you want to go on this trip or maybe save the money for something else? You know, there's always choices in life that you do. But we try to make it fun, though, because the colors are vibrant enough.
Not only in the book, also in financial planning.
Yeah, right. That's right.
It's really true. And you know, you and my husband have been together for a long, long time. Not quite that long, but you've been together a long, long time in terms of that world. And part of financial planning and living is having a great life in the midst of it. And that's really what you learn from Yum and Yuck. And Horsey, too. Horsey was having a great time. As I went and leafed through the book and spent time with it with you and with him just by myself, I took some time and reflected on the beautiful quote that you have in the back by Dr. Kubler-Ross, who is actually one of my favorite authors. I've spent a lot of time doing her work, since her work impacts my work an awful lot in the therapeutic world. I was wondering if you wouldn't mind reading the beautiful quote you picked and then reflect on why you chose this one.
Sure, absolutely. We need to teach the next generation of children from day one that they are responsible for their lives. Mankind's greatest gift, also its greatest curse, is that we have free choice. So you know, it's interesting, that quote is actually a lot longer, but because the subject of Dr. Kubler-Ross is about death and dying, as you know. And I chose that because it really, I wanted something that encapsulates the wordless book. I wanted to say, okay, after you've looked at it and wondering maybe what is this all about, I want something at the very end that says it's really we control it. We control our thoughts, and that we are responsible for it. And I really went through, I don't know, thousands of quotes. And that was my favorite one, except that I had to truncate it. So what I did is I emailed Dr. Ross's son, Ken Ross, which unfortunately passed away in 2004. And so I emailed him one summer evening in 2009 and midnight. And then he actually emailed back within 4 hours.
That's amazing.
Yeah, you know, I said, may I have permission to use the quote, because I'm doing this children's book, and that I'm giving a book away for everyone I sell, and that it's really meant to help children with their choices. And he emailed back and he said, my mother would love it. You have permission to use the quote. And I thought it was meant to be, because I didn't have to work so hard at getting it. He was very willing to offer it, and I'm so grateful that it was the quote I picked, and I think it's very suitable for Yum and Yuck and Ions.
And for all of us.
For all of us, yes.
For all of us. Speaking of us, one of the things that I know about you, and I would love this audience to know, is how loving and generous Nannette truly is as a person, as a soul. She has been an absolute beautiful influence in my life, and I want to thank you. And she is now, she's touched many lives. I'm just a little bit selfish there. Thank you.
Well, thanks mutual though, Gwen, so it's not
Thank you. You had shared just briefly, and as you were just talking, and I'm aware of that, that for every book that is purchased, one is given away.
Yes, that's
Can you
right.
talk a little bit about that concept and what that's all about and how that works too?
Sure, absolutely. I really want, my audience initially was, as mentioned, the children who don't have that privilege of growing up with an adult. And it's sad because they can't control that, And so I said to myself that, well, I could do a lot of books and give them away, but then that really doesn't promote. I'd have to keep giving the books away. And, I think it's better when a lot of people are involved in it. So I thought, well, if I sold a book and gave a book away for everyone I sell, then I could always satisfy that desire to give a book away. And so far it's good. The challenge is pricing the book to be able to give one away, So I just did an initial run, small run, so then that was a challenge to be able to do. But I think that with the next run of larger number of books that we'll be able to get this to other stores. But the process of it is I actually first heard about a program in the city that's run by the Center of Youth, and they have 3,000 kids that get books in the summer mailed to them, and they're from our impoverished schools in the city, and they get a book a week for 7 weeks, and then they get some other school supplies, and so that kind of helps them keep up with the learning along in the
learning
summer.
process, right?
Yeah, but then that's kind of an ambitious goal. The book launched on April 2nd, 2010, so really there's not a lot of time to be able to sell 3,000 books and give that away. So along the way, I just talked to people about it, and somebody said to me, I'm going to buy some books for the Alternatives for Battered Women. I said, oh, well, what a nice thing to do. She said, well, because the women, when they read to the children, they're really reading to themselves. So I think this is brilliant because it's non-threatening. It's a book that they can discuss with their children, and they can interpret it in the way that they want to. And I said, oh, that's very nice. So then I mentioned it to another friend, and the friend said, I want to do the same because I honor a mentor of mine, and each time I honor him, he always asks me, what to donate it in honor of his father and to the Alternatives for Battered Women. I said, great. So then he got 60 books and donated it. But then I wanted to make sure that the children are involved, so I'm talking with Horizons at Harley, and I hope to be able to give them the books to use for their summer program, where they have a 6-week intensive summer program where the city kids are able to attend class in the summer for 6 weeks. In the morning, it's academics, afternoons, arts and athletics. So I thought this would be a nice complement to what they do. And then writers and books. So I'm looking for organizations, but my ultimate goal is next summer be able to do this for, I should say ultimate short-term goal.
Ultimate short-term goal, okay. So our short-term ultimate goal.
Yeah, that's right, to give this to the children in the city in Rochester. But I hope to make it global. There's a lot of kids that could use the book, I think. It's a nice present. So the idea is really just to help others out. I mean, at the back there, I talk about how everybody should be responsible for their own lives. But there is a sense of community, and that's what it's all about. And we exhibit sense of community by helping others, because sometimes, we only know what we know.
Correct.
Right? We don't know what we don't know. So kids who could use it, maybe given the present of the gift of the book, and then say, oh, I didn't think of it that way.
And it is quite a gift. So not only have you given the gift to the readers and co-creators of the story, you've also given the gift to readers and co-creators of all ages. You've given the gift to others who can also give a gift through you. Do you see how that is? It's such a beautiful concept of that ongoing gift giving, which is actually one of the greatest qualities out of the bunch of great qualities about you that are just amazing. As I look at you as my friend, and I'm just so honored to have you, not only as a great friend, but as this amazing woman who continues to give back. And that's just you, Nannette. It really is. So you can get embarrassed and blush and do all those kind of things, and I really don't mind because it's simply a truth.
Oh, thank you.
True.
You know, Gwen, one of the processes I thought was just really brilliant about this book is I would just talk casually to people what I was doing, and then someone would say, you know, I could help you do that. So it's really neat. Or somebody would say, oh, think about this. Or one of the coolest ones is I thought, well, okay, if this book really took off and I had some extra money from it, what would I do with it? And I said, oh, I would want to put it in a fund, a non-for-profit fund. And I was at the board of the Rochester Area Community Foundation. And I thought I'd start a fund there, and it would be supporting, you know, arts. And, you know, so I was driving one day listening to Click and Clack, the Tappet Brothers, and they were interviewing Leonard Bernstein's son. And they said after the car issue, what are you doing these days? And he says, oh, I'm an art teacher, and I manage my father's foundation. And so Click and Clack says, well, what's the name of your father's foundation? And he said, Arts in Education. And I thought, oh, brilliant. That's the name of the fund.
There you go.
Yeah, every time I had a question, it would just pop up. The answer would be there. And then a friend has written a companion book, which should be out in June of 2010, and it's called Iron Wisdom. And the idea behind it is there are people like myself, it's hard for me to start a story, but I could tell a story that happened. So basically I needed some help if I was getting the book for first time and not knowing what to do with it. And so she's written a book called Iron Choices that would have iron fables to kind of a starter for the story. So then get kind of the creative juices going, and then there's activities, and then also like questions to ask a young child. So it could be used in the classroom. So then the teachers can use it as a guide to be able to use the images in the book. So, I mean, just really everything, Gwen, that I asked, it was right there in front of me.
Right.
I mean, I'm just so blessed by lots of wonderful people, and it's just a wonderful force of out there. You know?
Yes, and I've witnessed it as you have gone through that journey. I also know that now that you talked about the companion book coming in, are we going to get an opportunity at some point to maybe see another Yuck and Yum?
Yes, actually, we have a lot of different ideas, and so it's just a matter of prioritizing. You know, being a financial advisor, I have to control the expenses because it's like, okay, writing the check here. So, but anyway, so for now, what we're doing is actually using the proceeds from the first run to order the next run, but allocating some funds from the sale of those to then generate additional books. So, my illustrator's just been wonderful. It's nice to hear him say this has been his dream job, which I'm very excited about.
That is amazing, because the illustrations, as folks get a chance to see some of the illustrations, and we'll put them right up on the screen for them to see. Absolutely amazing. The colors are brilliant. They're vibrant. Of course, I'm in love with Yum's eye. She or he has the most gorgeous eye I've ever seen, and it's nice to see how Yuck's hair gets transformed. It's quite beautiful, and I've seen myself in both of these spots for Yuck and Yum in different points of my life. So I think that's one of the most kind of entertaining kind of pieces to this. I know you do have a website where folks can order this directly.
Yes, that's
and we'll put that information up on the screen so that they can access it and be able to support this great experience for young people, middle-aged people, older people of all locations. What else are your hopes for the book?
My hope is actually to have a common language. You know, writers and books in town have this idea that if all of Rochester read, and basically the idea behind it is for people to talk about the same book regardless of economic or socioeconomic situation in life. And I thought, well, wouldn't it be nice if we could speak Yum and Yuck in ions and say, what's your ion choice, regardless of what our background is, no matter how old we are, what our socioeconomic background is, what our education is. And it's a common language, and I'm thinking more broadly than just our community to say, you know, well, here's Yum and Yuck, and they're just like us, and they're exploring their choices. And like us, we need to be exploring our choices and thinking about the consequences of our choices. You know, so that's my hope, is that it gets to a lot of people and that it becomes a language that we could all share. And I mean, they really render themselves for cartoons, so who knows? They may be a cartoon of what's up with Yuck.
That would be fun. That would be fun. I know for myself, again, you and I talked Sarah's getting ready to move to a different phase of her life, and Sarah's, of course, my daughter, and you know that. And she's going to be heading to college pretty soon, within the next, year or so. And when I saw this, one of the greatest gifts, I think this is a great gift for young folks heading out the door, whether they're going to college or vocational training or just getting ready to move. It really is that last place, well, one of the last places that I can see at the moment, to give a gift to my child that would be something that just a reminder. Mm-hmm. This is your journey, love, and this is a chance for you to pick yum or yuck. And she is a science girl too, so that she will really equate to that. So I again thank you on behalf of all the kids who are getting ready not only to go into kindergarten and pre-verbal all the way to college, and actually some neat retirement gifts.
Yeah, right. That's right. It's a transition. You're absolutely
yes,
right.
Any place. So how do we want it to look? Do we want to watch ourselves, pulling the big brick, and or do we want to be flying the kite? And how we get there.
Yeah,
it's a beautiful piece.
Right.
Other thoughts before we get ready to...
Yeah, actually the feedback's been great. The feedback that was really inspiring to me was the woman who helped us produce the soft cover books.
Oh, that's right. It's in both hard and soft.
Yeah, that's right. So the soft cover book we had printed in Pennsylvania, because I was really minimizing the cost of being able to produce it. Anyway, she received the images and she emailed and she said, "Thank you so much for doing the book." She said, "I didn't realize I was living under a dark cloud for almost 3 years, and your book made me cry when I saw the images, because it showed me something that I didn't see. So thank you so much, and here are some things I'll be doing." And I thought, my goodness, that's brilliant, because she only saw the books, the images. I really didn't tell her any background about it, and so I was pleased with her reaction. That was interesting, because the other reaction are people that I know, and people are kind, but I know they're being honest to me. But it's just nice to get that feedback from somebody I don't know and who doesn't know me. So the feedback's been neat from the young kids who read to their siblings and or read to the adult, actually.
Right.
So I received a lot of emails from people who have experience with the children and also themselves. So that's very gratifying and inspiring, actually. That picture right there with the yuck poking the dark cloud,
right,
and getting rained upon, and Yum giving a drink to the sun, the hot sun. I think that's a very clever image, because that's sometimes we're already in a dark situation and we keep poking at it to make it even worse. So
very powerful.
Yeah,
very powerful and very true. I want to thank you. I want to thank you, and I want to thank our audience here. This has been one of the... I've had to contain myself, because I was so excited to do this show, particularly because I knew the concepts that were coming in, and the book is just incredibly beautiful, and I've witnessed your experience transitioning through the initial thought of what about, we were talking about those iron things, all the way down to sitting, just a couple of days ago over a sandwich and showing what the gift that has come from many different places, many different people, and through you and through others. And so I encourage our listening audience to please hop up to the website. This is a book for all times and all places. I can barely contain my excitement, and I have to, but it's just a great book. And I look forward to all the grace that it's going to bring to the number of people that you've touched. So thank you for coming to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. And if you have other questions or ideas or thoughts for the show, you can reach me at the website and contact information as you see below. And again, just thanks a lot, and good luck with the book.
Thank you very much.
This program was produced through Penfield Community Television in Penfield, New York.